Hello, everyone, and welcome to Not the Newsletter, episode 6. Thank you for being here. We're here with Noah Wiley today. We have some awesome things to talk about, get you guys updated on, and dig into some more of those topics that have been covered in some ways a little bit in our newsletter and some not. So thanks for being here today, Noah. Excited to be here. Let's kick this off by talking about WWDC. What do you think?
Sure. Also, I just want to say I'm really glad you did the intro because I would have said the wrong episode number.
I don't know if that's the right one. I've just been winging it.
I think you're right.
I think it's right. Well, I think I'm good. I've been trying to be better at saying that. So
you got it right.
Yeah. Good.
So WWDC happened. It was more like the beginning of the month. So a couple weeks ago, WWDC, if you don't know, for anyone out there, is Apple's big worldwide developer conference where they basically just announced all the new software stuff they're doing, new iOS, watchOS, macOS, now visionOS, now that they announced that last year. And of course, now this year, AI. But AI does not mean artificial intelligence. It now means Apple intelligence.
Apple intelligence, yeah.
They invented AI now, according
did.
to them. But anyways, just to go over it really quick, there's some cool stuff. Just as always, all their new products are getting updates. Like iOS is getting some new features, more customizable home screen. You can send text over satellite now, like in emergency scenarios, which that's pretty cool. Because like last year, or 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, goodness, they let you do emergency calls over satellite. Now you can do text over satellite. So that's kind of cool. It's not like your everyday normal texting, but just like for emergencies and like.
So when you're in that SOS mode.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Or like if you're out in a whatever, you need to send something to someone like as a quick whatever. Like I'm here in the. Yeah. I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
Please come get me.
That maybe. Yeah. It maybe come get me. I'm just trying to think. The iPad, they made a big deal of it because it's such a meme now. The iPad now finally gets a calculator app after 14 years.
That always did surprise me. I don't use my iPad a lot. We use it more as a teleprompter and things for video. But I do remember sometimes where you'd go in there and be like, why is there not a calculator?
So their logic was they don't want to do a calculator app unless they can do it really well. That's their logic that they do with everything. And they never really saw a really good need or cool usage for a calculator on an iPad until now, because with Apple Pencil, they have this whole cool thing where you can like do like a scratch pad thing.
Okay.
You do like 57 minus 18. You can just hit like draw that out and do equals, and it'll just calculate for you. Granted, you could do something much more complicated like sine, cosine, whatever, and it'll calculate everything. So that's their logic of being like, we didn't want to make it's
prettier
calculate app unless you can do something cool and unique with it, like the Apple way.
Why can't you just scale the regular app that exists on the iPhone? I mean, that would scale fine to an iPad, I would think, right? That's
not the point. I think it's because they wanted to do the cool feature,
and that's why you don't. That's why you don't own Apple, Chris, because you think about this wrong.
Right, exactly. You're not doing it correctly.
I'm just wrong, obviously.
Exactly. Which that all is apparently built on like some machine learning stuff, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. It was cool to watch it. Yeah, how it worked and stuff like that. And it was. I can't tell from the demo, but it looked like it was pretty close to live. Like you would ask a question, hit equals, live. And it was fast. Those answers. It seems weird to me though because they've been pitching this iPad as a desktop computer replacement thing. Put it on a stand, get a keyboard.
Yep.
It'll replace your life. I use a keyboard. I use a calculator all the time.
Right.
And so if you were going to tell me, like, hey, we have a computer for you, here it goes, and did not have a calculator, it's silly. I'm guessing people just went and got one in the App Store.
I guess, which is still weird.
It is weird, yeah.
You want your calculator with ads.
You're like, it's kind of like that. I feel like Androids didn't used to come with a flashlight. Do you remember those days?
That was iOS.
Was it iOS?
You had to get a third party. They had a flash. Now you had to get a third party app to access the flashlight.
Okay. Yeah. Same deal. I think Android. I feel like I had a phone in Android, maybe like one of the earlier ones.
Could have been that too.
Same deal though. There was no flash. You had to go get one.
Yeah.
It seemed very silly.
It's weird, but they finally have that. So that was they made a very self-referencing joke because like biggest software improved. They never calculate it. Like they know what's the joke behind it.
Yep.
Just some other really cool stuff on macOS. macOS Sequoia is the next update. There wasn't anything like super huge. They are going to offer like an iPhone mirroring thing. So like you can, if you have your iPhone, like, I don't know, somewhere's not near you, you can like kind of almost like RDP, like remote access RDP, quote unquote, your phone from your Mac and control it from there and do whatever you want to do on your phone. Like you could type, you can look at the screen, you can watch stuff, do whatever. I don't personally see the benefit in it because you almost always have your phone on you, and like using your hand on your phone is a million times better than trying to use a trackpad on because it scales it as it would. Sure. Like it's not blown out to your laptop screen. It's a little 19:9 screen.
Yep.
So I mean that's kind of whatever. I'm just trying to think. There was some other before we get into the big one. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's just the big one. Apple now has leaned into AI, so they have their own AI Apple Intelligence thing that runs on device and can kind of do a lot of cool stuff, just like What would be a good example? I can't really think of a good example. Basically, it's like Siri's getting a gigantic update, and Siri
Right.
is now running exclusively on like a large language model like Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever, AI to do a lot more cool stuff on your device. Like basically just like, it's kind of like the Siri that everyone wanted Siri to be is now becoming that reality. Because Siri is always kind of like, it's kind of cool, but like it can't really do a lot, and it's very like syntax based. Like you have to tell it very specifically in the way it wants to hear it before it'll do the thing. And now you can just speak to it more naturally. It can do more things. It can like give you summaries on texts and emails, and it can auto generate emojis for you, which is that's kind of cute, I guess.
That is kind of cute. Yeah, I guess if that's what you're into, I don't know. But if that's gonna, I'm guessing that'll be an iMessage specific thing, though, right? I didn't read into that.
I think it's gonna be iMessage.
That's got to be. There's no way that that's gonna go cross-platform. And not that they're really ever we're good at playing cross-platform.
No,
but this is all gonna run on ChatGPT, though. This isn't. This is all Project AI or
not
OpenAI.
quite. So there's basically there's two halves of it. There's basically going to be the Apple Intelligence part that either will run solely on your device, or for things that need to go to the cloud, it'll go to Apple specific data centers. Then there is like a bridge point where it will explicitly ask you, like for certain prompts, whatever, hey, do you want to do this in ChatGPT? Like it'll spell it out saying like, hey, do you want to send this to OpenAI to do it in ChatGPT? If you approve that, then it goes out to OpenAI. Like you don't open like the OpenAI app or ChatGPT app. It's all still within Siri, but it's connecting to ChatGPT to process whatever and do it back to you.
I'd be curious to see how that actually works in practice. That seems like a really sort of janky process.
I'm surprised they're doing it that way because it feels very anti-Apple to do it that way.
Is it going to be an audible prompt then to be like, hey, would you like me to ask OpenAI that question because I don't have an answer for you?
It'll literally give you like a notification or like a prompt, whatever, being like, do you want to
like a touch prompt?
Yep. Or an audio prompt too. But yeah,
I was going to say because a lot of time I use Siri when I'm in the car, like,
It'll do
hey,
that too.
send the text message, or hey, do whatever, or hey, look this thing up for me so I can keep my hands and eyes on the road.
It'll do that too. But yeah, it's like it's not just like a thing in the background. Like it's very like, which feels very anti-Apple to like admit that any other company exists.
And does something as good or better than them.
Yep. So it's so basically my one big gripe with it is that Apple Intelligence is only available on like the absolute newest of hardware.
That's what I was just going to say too. Yeah, it's 15 and newer for the iPhone and
15 Pro. Like my 14 Pro Max cannot get it.
Right, and it's
not fair.
Mac Pro and higher, M3
something
Mac
like
Pro,
that.
like M3 Max or Pro something and higher.
Yeah.
It's definitely a specific hardware.
It's very
that runs
limited.
it,
Yeah, it's very limited. People are I'm upset about it personally.
Yeah. Just letting, so in case the internet doesn't know, Noah is personally.
If Tim Cook knows how to find me.
Yeah, just send you a free iPhone 15 Pro.
Maybe.
Okay, done. Someday one of these things is going to happen because I call out people all the time. I'm like, last time, who was it last time? I don't know. In the last podcast, it was Nestle or something. And so like,
something like
it's like, hey Nestle, if you're watching this, like send us some free stuff and sponsor the podcast. So one of these times, someone's going to actually do this and be like, hey, you guys have no views right now, and I know you're starting this thing out, but we're in. Well, you guys have this. We're going to get behind you. That'd be awesome.
Right. So there's some other stuff too that I won't really go into right now. One last little thing for all Android fans out there: Apple is finally supporting RCS, which is like the replacement for SMS. So like texting with your Android friends and family may no longer be super broken.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes because apparently they're implementing a slightly older version of RCS. Go figure. So we'll see how that goes. But it's coming with iOS 18. So there's a lot of stuff with WWDC. That was just some of like the really big stuff. Like there's a new Vision OS 2 that adds some cool enhancements and everything like that. But one very notable person on the internet had some thoughts after WWDC. If you wanna touch on that.
Yeah, you're talking about Mr. Elon.
I am talking about Mr. Elon
and his threat to ban Apple devices if they include OpenAI in there.
Yep.
So obviously the threat is to ban Apple completely
from
mobile laptops, any sort of anything from being on any of the Tesla, SpaceX networks and things like that.
Or if a guest has it, they're gonna have to he threatens. So who knows? He's gonna have them. Any Apple devices can't actually enter the building. They have to be checked at the door. According to him, who knows? I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but it's what he's saying.
You go through security and they check you for they look for,
That's what he's saying.
I think that's funny. Did he ever really explain as to why?
It was a very surface level.
Yeah,
threat.
I don't think I've seen yet as to if there's actually any merit behind the idea.
I won't get super into it because I don't know entirely, but I do know that Elon and OpenAI have a very rough relationship.
Got it.
And Elon is trying to make a competitor to OpenAI called like XAI, and it might be just found in that. But I just know they don't. OpenAI and Elon do not get along.
Got it. So it's more of like a more of just like a yeah.
It might totally be because it was very much like I'm gonna do this, and it was never like a but why.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of the articles are short. You know, there are a couple paragraphs. It's just like he just said this thing.
He didn't really say. But there's so much buzz around it because it's him.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It does kind of make the interesting note really quick on a more serious note to see as more and more things incorporate AI to see how places are going to respond. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, his thing's very surface level and who knows if it's going to be a thing. I would not be surprised if someone actually does be like, hey, at Goldman Sachs or whatever, like if you're in a certain whatever, like certain higher up whatever, any bank, financial, medical, whatever, they might get more strict about having like more strict lockdowns or who knows what guest policy will be. Like it might completely like ruin BYOD or whatever if like
if OpenAI is listening to everything you're doing and
or Apple Intelligence or whatever, like Google Assistant, I think that's getting more stuff. Yeah, so I don't know.
It seems hilarious too because they're estimating he has 100,000 or more employees, which seems low in my opinion. Actually, I don't know why that seems low.
That does seem a little low
with a company that has some of the net worth that they do. It seems like a low number, but out of 100,000 employees, I bet you 85,000 plus have iPhones.
Yeah, 100%.
So what do you do when 85,000 of your people can't MFA into their stuff anymore? They can't. Great. Congratulations. Go get an Android. No one's going to. Yeah.
Because Google is clearly the answer to your concern.
Because Google's clearly the answer. So then you have one of those like sort of rolling code like RSA keys or something like that. Yeah. And you just have to use that when you're at work because you can't bring your phone inside the doors anymore. Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be funny to see if those kinds of things actually create change though. It can't be. These guys are so set in their ways. There's no way that it's going to make a difference, but it'd be funny.
We'll see.
So next on the topic is Windows Wi-Fi vulnerabilities. There's an update out now that is worth going on. And probably what's our recommendation? Go do this at home because obviously we're pushing automatic updates to people.
For here,
Yeah. So go home, keep your Windows PCs updated. The vulnerability took... it was like a public Wi-Fi thing that they were worried about, right? It wasn't just like someone was going to hack your computer at home. It was more of a, hey, there's sort of maybe a little bit of a vulnerability. If you're on a public Wi-Fi and you're somewhere and they could maybe get into your laptop that way.
It was basically like envision you're at Starbucks and you're on the same guest Wi-Fi as someone else. And if you didn't have this vulnerability patch, like the hacker could send like a packet, quote unquote, of data, just like a small bit of data over the network to your computer that runs a certain script that before his patch would not let them get access to the computer, but they could kind of just like run other like scripts and everything on it, which then could let them do other things.
Sure. So. It seems weird though. I would expect now in 2024 for a guest network at a Starbucks or somewhere to have sort of like encapsulation. Even on a guest network, I would still expect that to happen. I wonder how many of these things are still actually a thing.
I don't know.
I know we're worried about them, but I'd be curious to see how many guest networks there are. I should bring a scanner with me sometimes when I'm at these places and just scan the networks to see if you can actually see anything.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't used a guest network in like 6 years.
Yeah,
because hotspot. Not that everyone else doesn't. Actually, I'm lying. That's not true because I can think of when we were in Tennessee, I tried using hotspot and I couldn't get in the hotel. Sure. So I'm a liar. Never mind. I'm sorry.
But everything is, and that's I don't even know. Yeah, but I was gonna say everything is secure anyway. But I suppose if they can start running scripts in your computer, then it's not so secure.
Yeah.
So go run that update. The vulnerability is CVE 2024 378. Should just show up in Windows updates if you just go and run updates. Just get caught up with some of those if you're not already.
Right.
It would be on one of their.
It was released June 11th, according to Microsoft. So you might have already gotten it, but just go ahead and double check.
Yeah.
Cool.
Worth checking. So good thing. It's a good thing that Microsoft found it. Got something out. So
yay, Microsoft.
Yay. In other security news, Kaspersky was banned in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big shocker.
Is it though?
I don't know.
They're a Russian company.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, but they were
big.
Yeah, they were the sort of go-to AV company for a long time. I feel like Best Buy.
In that regard, it is surprising. I do agree with
Yeah,
that.
I feel like Best Buy's been pushing that for a long time. There was a partnership
Yeah, I
there, I
think so.
think, right? That I feel like everything that left a Best Buy, I don't know if that still happens now. I haven't gone in a Best Buy in a very long time, but I feel like things left Best Buy with Kaspersky on them, or they were just
Yeah.
like, I felt like they were getting some kickbacks. So they would be like, you want
Oh my
Kaspersky,
gosh,
like
yeah.
19-year, you know,
It's so good.
yeah, it's so good. You need this now. It's only $500 right now. If you and so I think to see them kind of be banned is interesting.
So I don't think from this there was any like, I'm trying to read through the article and remember because I read it once very late at night. I don't think there was an explicit like, oh my gosh, this thing happened through Kaspersky, guys, this is bad. It's more of, it's tied to the Russian government and something could happen, especially because of how integrated antivirus gets into your computer.
Sure.
It's like, we don't know that something couldn't happen. That's kind of like the thing. So I don't think anything has technically happened. And of course, the Kaspersky, the company, which is like Kaspersky AO or whatever the name of the company is, denied, obviously.
Right.
It's a security threat. I mean, why wouldn't it? But also they're just kind of taking the stance of like, oh, it's wrong. And it's like just a geopolitical thing. And like, we're completely fine. We're not beholden to the Russian government, whatever. Who knows if it's true or not? We're not going to try to say whether or not it's true. Again, I'm just saying there hasn't really been like an official whatever. It's more of just out of fear of something could happen.
Right. Yeah, which is, I guess, fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think they said too that they don't actually have access to anything. Right. There's like, we're not getting access to your data. We're just putting the scanner there and going through stuff, and we're not necessarily downloading things off your computer or getting access to any aggregates. So, but again, who knows what that means, right? There still is an agent on your computer that could do whatever it wanted to. So, I don't know. These things are interesting, right? I mean, as we get into things like with China and Russia, and it's interesting to see some of these things play out like this, where it's, again, they probably don't have anything to do with the government, but you're just like, well, maybe we just need to be err on the side of caution a little bit too.
And that can apply to us too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to probably go both ways, right? It'll probably go
exactly.
At some point. You'll get to the point where it's like, well, and I know a lot of Department of Defense and some of those other when you get into those kind of levels of security, then they're specifically just like, yes, we only use software, data, storage, cloud servers, like that all has to be on soil, vetted, fingerprinted, all that stuff. There is a level, obviously, where you get to those things where that sensitive information is, super important, and so they keep it that way.
So as of right now, I don't entirely actually remember.
So what AV should people use? Obviously, we have everyone covered for here. Do you have any like recommendations of what people should be using at home?
I feel like, I know for business, we love Bitdefender for a lot of reasons. I also feel like I've seen the personal use Bitdefender is also like the new best one right now.
Okay.
I feel like it's between that and Sophos.
Okay.
It's like another good one. Don't use McAfee, please.
Yeah.
Don't use McAfee. Uninstall that if your computer has it. It's like terrible. I think that one actually might be, I don't know if that's preloaded from Target or something. It doesn't matter. Don't quote me on that. Just don't use McAfee.
Sure.
Norton, I don't really know how good that is anymore.
What about Sentinel-1?
Is that technically an AV though?
I literally was gonna ask the exact same question.
I think it's technically something else.
It's sort of, I think it's sort of like a security software. I'm not sure. It's
like a weird security suite thing. I don't know how good it is either.
Yeah, I feel like it's very, very sort of ransomware, cybersecurity specific. Maybe that doesn't cover anything else.
I also don't entirely think they have. I think they're business and enterprise only. I don't think they have like a personal.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But
yeah,
I haven't looked either, so I didn't know.
Point being, but on that note, if you are going to get an AV, which you should, but research what you get.
Yeah.
Because it does get very integrated access into your computer. Like if you get a personal one, research it and look, see what it does, see what people say about it, see what independent researchers say about it, because it does get very core access to your computer, because it has to in order for it to run correctly.
Right.
So, yeah, which is where a lot of this is from. So there's been a whole lot of sanctions and everything like that over other things. I won't go into all of them. Like this is just another one that's been added, but we'll see how it shakes out, and we'll see if any other countries do the same thing against American companies. Yeah. It's totally possible. We'll see. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Bitdefender does work Windows, Mac, iOS, obviously everything. So yeah, could totally be a good option.
If you do have Kaspersky right now, maybe just consider switching to something.
Yeah, well, I wonder what happens there. Does Kaspersky?
Does it still work?
Yeah. What does ban mean? Does that mean they're just not going to use it in the government spaces?
I don't think you can buy it per se.
It's now banned in the U.S. Okay, so the sale of... Oh, yeah, okay. They stopped the sale of it. Interesting.
The answer is, for now, it does. As of September 29, 2024, the U.S. government announced that it will be illegal to sell Kaspersky products in the country or to provide updates to any existing installations.
So get this done before September, because you'll stop getting AV updates by then.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So,
well, there you go. Find yourself a new AV between now. That's a long time. You got a couple months, too.
That's long enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this can happen. There's a very real possibility Kaspersky sues and it gets still extended. Sure. That has happened before with a different company last year.
Which isn't going to matter, because by the time that actually goes anywhere, everyone will have switched anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. Switch anyways.
Yeah, switch it.
Just in case.
Or just don't use the computer anymore.
Yes, I feel like it was funny. I think I looked back at one of our first videos when I was testing stuff like that, and I feel like I showed it here. I don't know if I ever want it on the internet, but I was sitting down and I was testing cameras and things like that, and that was my recommendation. I was like, don't print, don't go on the internet, just don't do it. That's my cybersecurity tip for today. Is
you win by don't play.
Yeah, exactly. Don't play the game, and you'll never get a virus. Just stay off the internet. I love how I added don't print, somehow that gives you a virus. But although there's been a virus, there's been printer viruses, so just don't do it. Just don't do anything. Get a USB printer.
CCA's recommendation: go back to paper.
Yeah, paper.
Please don't do that. Actually,
that'd be bad. I think we might lose our jobs if everyone did that.
Probably.
I think everyone would lose their jobs if everyone did that, though. So we'd all be in the same boat.
True.
Go back to farming or something.
That could be fun.
All right. Anything else, Noah, you think would be good to cover?
I think that's what was on my list. Those are all the tabs I have open, so I have no more open tabs. So I guess that means there's nothing else to talk about.
Just start opening other random tabs. Just open Fox News and see what shows up. Just wing it.
I don't want to wing it.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. It's a shorter one this week, and we just thought it would be good to talk to you guys a little bit about some of those updates. WWDC was a good one. There's tons of other stuff in there we didn't cover. Go check out the rest of those things. Uninstall Kaspersky. Get yourself something good. And we will catch you guys on the next podcast. So thanks for watching. Have a great one.